And then one more bit is we did get to go to the F1 race. This was sort of in the background of all of this. Me and a slice of the team, we went out to Las Vegas for one of the races near the end of the Formula One season.
Did you get to see the Sphere?
We did get to see the Sphere.
I'm really
I know
interested in the Sphere.
It's just as exciting as the race. It is quite a large spherical building with screens on the outside. It's pretty sick. First thing I noticed when I looked at it, and Ellis can verify, I was like, I think that's 90 hertz.
Oh, really?
I think it's 90 hertz.
Wow.
But it's hard to say, like, what is a 90 hertz thing at that scale? Like, it's it's an LED wall, basically, like, stitched together. Like, I think animations moving across the Sphere looked very smooth, like they were 90 hertz, but I don't know if they're refreshing at 90 hertz.
We only want one thing, and it's disgusting to see the LA Sphere.
It is, Vegas Sphere.
Vegas Sphere. Say LA.
It is super interesting to see. But yeah, the F1 race was like it's a street race, so part of the track was the Las Vegas Strip.
Yeah.
It was a very picturesque race. It was at night, too.
Yeah.
But the one thing that's going to stick with me is just how much louder and more like visceral it is in person.
I was thinking
than a broadcast
because I saw all your Instagram stories and you were just like, this is so insane. It's much more insane than through your phone. And I was watching it through my phone and I was like, that doesn't seem that crazy.
Yeah, dude. This is my pet peeve with car videos online is none of them can actually give you the feeling of what the car sounds and feels like.
Yeah.
I've seen a lot of really good videos of like miking up the car and it just peaks every time. You can't actually feel the vibrations, the difference between like the sub bass, like the super low rumbles versus like the sound of the pitch when you accelerate. Like none of that comes through on video.
The bass that is your chest cavity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The loudest video I've ever taken in my life is when all of those cars lined up for the beginning of the race, 20 cars in a row, all at once, light turns green, they all go. I think it probably hit 115 decibels or something like that on my watch, and on my phone it just sounds like it just sounds like a normal like F1 car passing by. It doesn't sound that crazy. It was chest rattlingly loud. So
did you have to wear earplugs?
I should have.
Earplugs.
I should have.
Look what Apple's done to my vernacular.
I could have worn AirPods Pro maybe and like had the pass through on or whatever.
Yeah.
No, they gave us earplugs. I didn't wear them. I wanted to experience it with all of my all of my being.
Yeah.
I would have regretted it. No, it was awesome.
Are you a fan now?
I honestly, yeah. The thing about going to an F1 race in person is like this is a 4-mile track or whatever it is, and you can't see most of the track most of the time. You only get to post up at like one turn or one straightaway.
Yeah.
So what was happening was we were on this balcony, and I was looking out at the straightaway, which was right between the last turn and turn one. Mm-hmm. But then anytime something interesting happened, you'd hear like a crowd reaction or a gasp, and I would turn around and look at the TV broadcast to find out what was happening because that's what everyone else was seeing.
And you turned back
and I'd turn back and I'd see and then I'd turn back around and I'd see what was happening on the screen. So it was one of those.
How long is one lap?
Literally 90 seconds.
Whoa. Do you know how many miles that is?
So they're going, the entire race is 50 laps, 190 miles.
That's, whoa. Okay.
And it's 90 minutes long.
Wow.
3.8 miles per lap.
3.8 miles per lap, 90 seconds.
Wow.
They are cruising. Yeah. So when I first got there, we posted up at that like straightaway where they came around the bend and did turn one. And I was looking at the guys, I was like, how fast do you think they're going down there?
We were like, maybe 110.
I think they might be going 90, maybe 100 miles an hour around this turn. Think about that. 100 to 110 miles an hour around the curve.
No.
And then we turned around and looked at the broadcast, and they have like the cameras on the cars and the live speed readouts.
Yeah.
And they were going 175 miles an hour around the turn, to the first turn. They're cruising.
They're going so fast that you see the cars moving and you think, wow, I always thought an F1 car was so much bigger than that. That looks like a little itty-bitty tiny car. And then you see them stationary and you're like, wow, this is the biggest car I've ever seen. This is like an SUV-sized vehicle.
Dang.
Like it warps it with every single one of your senses.
I've never thought about them being big.
And the smell. Oh my
Dude, I love the
gosh.
smell. The race fuel.
The fuel, the
just smell.
tires, there's just chemical in the air.
Yeah, I
It's
love
hot
brakes.
chemical.
I love that smell.
Hot tires, everything.
Dang.
Yeah, it is a much more every sense you have, from the vibration to the smell to the visuals to the, you can see the tires getting torn up in real time. Like as
Yeah.
they go, one set of tires lasts 20 laps and then they're like done.
Oh my God.
They're torn up. It's really interesting.
I know a lot of people that were criticizing it for being in Vegas, saying it was just like a lot of spectacle and stuff. But when I think about when I was like a wee lad playing PlayStation 2, playing Gran Turismo 5, and a lot of the maps were like in Vegas on the Las Vegas strip, and I was like, yeah, that would never be a real track. And the
Yeah.
fact that the photos that I saw from it were just like, there's the Bellagio and like all of the big hotels,
The
and
sphere in the background, yeah.
which sometimes had a little emoji face on it, like watching the race as it went by.
And then
that was great.
after the
That's
race,
awesome.
just to put the nail in the spectacle coffin, it was like there was a coordinated fireworks show launched from the roof of every hotel in Vegas.
Jeez.
It was literally like a citywide panoramic fireworks show
was
from like
incredible.
all these. It was
Vegas is like another universe.
Yeah, Vegas at night too. It was like 11, 12, midnight. It was very picturesque.
Wow.
It was super cool.
That's crazy.
So it was a pleasure to experience it. We were also working the whole time, putting together a video about F1. I'm going to it'll probably be live around this episode, but F1 Explained I am very excited about this video.
I'm afraid to learn about F1 because after Drive to Survive came out, it felt like every single person in my life. It's sort of like soccer or football, as I'm going to get yelled at in the comments. But
Oh, yeah.
it's like whenever the World Cup happens, everyone who I thought just did not care about soccer suddenly is like knows every little thing about soccer. And it felt the same way after Drive to Survive came out. It's like everyone watched that documentary, and now everyone that I know cannot stop talking about F1.
There is definitely an element of that, the world coming together for a cultural event.
Yeah.
My favorite part outside of that is how much what happens in F1 affects what happens outside of F1. So there's the obvious part, which is like, these are a bunch of engineers developing like the tiniest fraction of a second improvements on these cars and spending millions of dollars to figure out what works. That stuff will eventually trickle down to the cars you and I get to drive, which is super cool.
Yeah.
Even if it's just
That's
like
true.
a simple thing, like
It's like a research
materials.
division.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it literally is like Ferrari's out there racing cars around the track, and then they figure out all of the improvements over time to F1 have been one team, sometimes one guy on one team goes, I think if we put a wing on the front axle, it would give us more downforce, and that could let us turn faster. And they'll do that on
say that. They'll hear it.
they'll do that on their car, and they'll roll out their car, and one of the cars will be mysteriously faster for some reason before all of the other teams figure out what's going on and do their own version of it. And that literally happens every year with some innovation on the car.
Dang.
Okay, wait. I have
So-
a dumb question potentially.
Go for it.
Is that why all the F1 cars kind of look the same?
Yes.
Because they've all like kind of fell on this one form factor
It's
that
a great-
just works.
They all morph
Yeah, it's a
towards
good
the
observation.
optimal.
So if you scroll back far enough, they all kind of look like simple tubes with wheels. And as you fast forward over time, you kind of watch them all morph to get flatter and more blade shaped, and then they start to add the same features. But if you're observant enough, you can find archival footage where one of the cars has a front wing and none of the rest do. And then the next season, all of them have front wings. And then one of the cars has this aero feature. And then the next season, because it worked really well, all the rest do. My favorite is when stuff doesn't work. So in 2001, there was a Verstappen car that had a huge front wing sticking off of the front, which was like a stupid looking spoiler over the front axle. And they rolled it out for a race, and it just didn't work that great. And we never saw it again.
Dang. Oh my God. Why did they think that would work?
Because downforce on the front axle keeps the front tires planted better around turns.
Yeah, I know nothing about cars.
Yeah,
so
it's a lot of physics
I could
stuff.
see why they probably thought that would work.
So the idea would be like, if we think of something,
that looks so dumb.
sometimes it's inside the car, and it's so secretive too. It's like when Apple does something secretive, it's because they don't want anyone else to copy them. When these companies, these teams do something secretive, it's secretive until the moment it rolls out onto the track, and then if anyone sees it, it's out.
Wow.
There was a McLaren car that had a third brake pedal inside the car, and nobody knew what was going on until a photographer saw that on one side of the car during a corner, their brakes were hot and they were like glowing. And they were like, that's kind of weird because the car is supposed to be accelerating out of this corner, but the brakes are still hot. What is going on?
What?
It's because this was a track that mostly turned left.
Whoa.
And so they added a brake pedal in the McLaren that would brake just the left side tires while they were turning, so you could accelerate a little while still braking the inside wheels, which let you turn faster.
Genius.
It was insane, and no one could
So-
tell how they did it until someone I forgot the story, but someone figured out there was a McLaren car got left out after a race, and some guy took a picture of the inside of it and saw an extra pedal and was like, "We got to
You're
do
making
that."
me interested in this. So like, you can do whatever you want to your car, basically.
There are rules, but
Okay.
yeah, within the rules, you must. Yeah,
Dang.
They
So
study
it's
the
more of an
rulebooks.
engineering competition.
it is exactly what that is. Yeah.
God dang it.
Yeah, super cool.
I'm trying so hard to avoid this.
So welcome to the cult, my friend.
Okay.
The last race is in Abu Dhabi this weekend. I'm sure you'll be watching along with the rest of us. Yeah, but the Vegas race was very cool in person.
Cool. And that was like one of 2 races that happens in the U.S.
Yeah, like 2 or 3. I think Austin and Miami.
Okay.
And I think this is the last one this year.
Wow.
So.
Crazy.
Oh, I have a good clips outro.
I'm ready.
Okay.
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 Hey, thanks for watching that clip. I just want you guys to all be aware that on my YouTube, I have started seeing the feature where if someone says the word subscribe, it glows in the player. Have you seen this?
I have not seen this. For the word subscribe.
If you just say the word subscribe in your video, the subscribe
what word?
button, subscribe.
Wait, like SU subscribe?
Subscribe.
Subscribe.
Yes. Now, I don't know if it's going to glow every time they say the word. What's the word again?
Subscribe.
Subscribe. I don't know if
Sub?
it's going to happen every time, but I have started to see it glow. And I think it's super cool.
So subscribe implies the existence of a scribe,
And thus the superscribe.
the superscribe.
Correct. None of which have buttons on the page. I'm
Yeah.
sure that's being worked on.
Yeah. Subscribe seems like they should make a superscribe button.
That button does glow when you say it.
Subscribe.
So anyway, subscribe.
Subscribe.